I'm really not sure if it was just that the Switch had just come out last year, but it seemed like last year all of the Nintendo Directs that we saw were super exciting. There was always new announcements, new information, new games, all that good stuff, but in 2018, it's kind of taken a turn, and I think it started with that January 10th mini Direct. Just the mini Direct, being cut short was kind of a disappointment, and then there wasn't a whole lot of cool new game announcements. I think we got Mario Tennis Aces and Dark Souls, but those didn't even turn out to be that great, and it just feels like all of the rest of the Directs haven't been that great. The March Direct was awesome, of course, but really only because they teased Smash at the end and we didn't know about that. Other than that, the Directs have felt super lackluster and compared to 2017's. This most recent Direct, though, let me tell you, I have not been as hyped and screaming and just sweating as much as I was at that Direct yesterday since like E3 2017 when we got all of those crazy big pie-in-the-sky announcements. Yesterday's Direct was awesome, and in this video, I'm going to be analyzing every second of it, so here you go. Alright, let's get right into it. Nintendo didn't waste any time yesterday, so I'm not going to waste any time at all. Luigi's Mansion 3. Who could have even predicted this? Actually, a few people on Reddit did predict this, because last month when we got the Super Smash Bros. Direct, during the Castlevania section when Luigi was wandering through the mansion and eventually met his tragic demise, a lot of people noticed that his Poltergust had a slightly different design than it was in Dark Moon or the first game, and that it also had a plunger attached to it, which just so happened to have also been shown in this new Luigi's Mansion 3 trailer. They showed us some real gameplay, and he had a plunger. He shot it at a ghost's face. I don't know what exactly that's gonna do, but it was in that previous trailer. I just wanted to point that out. That was kind of a cool thing that I saw on Reddit. A lot of people predicted this was coming about a month before. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, we got a little bit of gameplay for this game. Not a whole lot was shown. What we did see looks beautiful. Looks like it's probably going to be 1080p on the Switch screen. Awesome stuff. I hope that they have a whole bunch of new mansions in this game. I'm sure they will. Luigi's Mansion only featured one map. It was pretty short. Dark Moon was still pretty short, but it had 5 different mansions, so hopefully they expand that greatly in this Switch iteration. I also hope that they expand on the multiplayer mode that they introduced in Dark Moon with all of the randomly generated levels. It was called like Terror Tower, something like that. There's a multiplayer competitive style mode. I really hope that they bring that back, and I'm sure they will since the Switch is, kind of a cooperative based system. Then, of course, right after that huge announcement, they start to give us these little breadcrumb announcements. It was the 3DS section. I didn't want to watch it, but I watched it. Kirby's Epic Yarn. It was a Wii game, and now it's being ported over to 3DS. I don't know why, but hopefully they make some money. I'm sure they will, and I'm sure that was their intent. Yeah, I didn't really care much about the 3DS section. I mean, some of the games do look good, but I just want to play Switch games. I'm not going to spend money on my 3DS anymore. Sorry, but that was that. After the 3DS section, I was feeling a little down, but as soon as I saw this next thing pop up, I got hyped again. The Splatoon 2 4.0 trailer. There wasn't as much content as I thought would be revealed, but that whole trailer was just so hype. The song, the way it was produced, like they had like the slow shots of the Octolings looking up and looking this way with the new, can't remember the name of the weapons, but the reskinned weapons all look great, and those are already out. 4.0 dropped yesterday. What I was a little surprised about is not the whole 4.0 dropped yesterday. I guess they're kind of seeing this as version 4.0 and they're going to have a 4.1 and whatnot. I've seen a timeline. Maybe I'll put it on the screen right now. All we're getting really is those new weapon models, which we already have. We're also getting a new map, which is allegedly coming in 4.1. It looks pretty cool. It's like a dojo/beach inspired map. Looks pretty cool. They didn't give us a name or anything, but it looks great. The most interesting thing I thought was this new mode for Splatfest. Apparently it's just for Splatfest. They didn't explicitly say it in the video, but Reading what I've read, it sounds like it's a new Splatfest mode, and they showed it's called like 100X mode or X100 mode. Who knows what that means? I'm sure there's not going to be 100 players in one map. They also showed that it was 3 players versus 3 players instead of a standard 4v4 map, so that's confusing. They also showed this Inkling in the center of Shifty Station, and he was covered in ink, and he looked like he was super powerful. That might be part of the new mode. And they also showed, this is the last thing, they showed this giant hammer that this Inkling was holding. I don't know if that's part of the new mode. I assume it is. We really have no idea what this new mode is going to look like. I haven't watched any YouTube videos of people analyzing it, so maybe other people have figured out, but I can figure it out. But either way, it's exciting that there's going to be a new mode, especially in Splatfest. I think that'll kind of bring the excitement up for Splatfest again. Not that they need it too bad, but I think that's great. Also, before I forget, they also had the cookable grenade. I think that's what it's going to be, where you can kind of hold the button down to cook the grenade longer and decide when it's going to explode after you throw it, which I think looks pretty cool. So they showed that Splatoon 2 trailer. I was so hyped, my blood was flowing, and then they showed me Mega Man 11. You know, I hadn't looked into that game too much, but it actually does look great. I hadn't seen much gameplay prior, just because I'm not super interested in Mega Man. I've never been a Mega Man fan, but it does look like a great game. Don't know if they need to put it in the Direct, but I do understand why they did it. It's coming out in a couple weeks, so let's just boost the sales a little bit. I'm not mad. And then, of course, we got the most exciting announcement that I didn't know I'd be excited about. Let's call it that. Mario Tennis Aces version 2. They're calling it version 2, which I think is a great PR move. Just kind of rebranding the game in a way, because it's kind of gotten a bad name since the 2 months out, or the 2 or now 3 months after it's been released. They're adding Petey Piranha as a character, which is really exciting. A couple months before this game came out, it was data mined that all of these characters would be coming out post-release, but we didn't know about Petey Piranha, so it was cool to actually have something new about this game that we had no idea about. That was awesome. They're also adding some different online cooperative challenges, which is another big criticism people had of the game. There wasn't enough stuff to do, and now we can play together doing challenges. They looked pretty cool. They were new. It was on the same maps that were in the story mode, but it looked like they were kind of switching it up a little bit. You know, you can only play online tournaments so much before it gets boring, so I think that'll be great. Also, they're adding new costumes, alternate costumes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was one of my biggest criticisms of the game, is they promised us alternate costumes, and since release, we still only have one, and that's Mario's original outfit. How hard is that? So, very exciting stuff. Mario Tennis Aces version 2. So yeah, Mario Tennis Aces was a super exciting announcement. Then they went into Capcom Arcade, like some ports of old Capcom arcade games. All I had to say about that and my live reaction was, this could have been a Twitter announcement. I would have been happy just seeing this on Twitter one morning when I woke up. Don't know if that needed to be in the Direct, but I'm sure that got some people super excited, so I won't crap on it too much. Moving past that, we got another huge big announcement that we kind of saw coming, but it was still kind of exciting. Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for Nintendo Switch. I didn't want this at all. I've always said that they should just port Mario Maker over if they're going to port any 2D Mario game over. I mean, Mario Maker is just the ultimate Mario game. There's endless levels. So why bring the, kind of crafted linear Mario back? I don't know. I'll probably buy it, to be honest. It's coming out January 11th, 2019, which is going to be kind of a lull period, I'm sure. You know, after the holidays, there's always that period where all of the great games just came out and we kind of have to wait. So that might be a good lull period game. I'm not mad because of the release date, but I don't know. They added a Funky Kong mode with this character. I can't remember who the character is, but it's basically a Funky Kong mode. He had like a bandana. I don't know what his name is. Anyways, yeah, it looks all right. I really liked the logo, the deluxe logo with the 2 Joy-Cons. Looked really good, but I don't know. Just bring me Mario Maker. Why Super Mario Bros. U? Then we get Katamari Damacy Unrolled or something like that. It's a remastered edition of this old game that I had no idea even existed. The gameplay didn't look that compelling to me, and the graphics weren't that great, even though it's remastered. But I did talk to someone at my live stream last night, and they said that they played hours of this on their PlayStation 2 back in the day, so I guess it's kind of fun, and it's got a little fan base going on, so maybe I'll try it if it's not too expensive. But honestly, to me, it just looked like some type of iPhone game where you like roll and use the gyroscope. It has gyroscope controls with the Joy-Cons, which is kind of cool, but I don't know if I'll actually pick that one up. Then we get into the Nintendo Switch Online section, what we were all waiting for. I've made so many videos about this. I had a skit about this, how they've, kind of teased that there'd be more information coming for 2 years. And really, they haven't given us any new information all the way up until the release, and they've continued that even in this Direct. They did make a beautiful video featuring all of the Super Mario main cast. We got Bowser and Bowser Jr. playing Switch together, Luigi with his cloud saves and whatnot. But as I said, they literally haven't given us any new information, maybe besides cloud saves, in the last 2 years. We've always known that there would be a classic game selection, online play, exclusive deals, and all that stuff. We already knew about all this stuff, and they didn't reveal anything. It's kind of disappointing, but it was kind of a fun trailer to watch, and that is coming out next week, September 18th. Then after the online section, they took a few minutes to talk about a few upcoming games that we already know about. The first being Pokemon Let's Go. They showed us some secret techniques, which are the moves replacing HMs or hidden moves. Secret techniques, hidden moves, some pretty groundbreaking changes there. They also showed off the bundle, which they spilled the beans about last week. I think it would have been a lot more exciting to see and might have motivated people to buy it more if they had seen it at this Direct, but gotta do what you gotta do when there's earthquakes and typhoons. After that, they showed Diablo 3. We had just found out about that like a month or two ago, and no new information really, but they did show off the Ganondorf skin in action, like him actually fighting. Looks great, looks very fluid. Then, of course, they moved on to Super Mario Party. Again, not too much new information here. They did reveal a new mode. It's like a single player mode. It's like something road, and you just go down the road and do a bunch of mini games by yourself, and they have more specified objectives. I didn't fully understand it. Looks like it could be kind of cool to play on the plane or something if you can only play with one person. But yeah, those 3 games we already knew a lot about, but they just kind of gave us some little tidbits of information here. After those 3 big hitters that we already knew a lot about, they gave us the second of the 3 completely brand new game announcements that we knew nothing about prior to this Direct, and that was Town. This is a Game Freak developed game. We of course all know Game Freak for developing every single Pokemon game there is. I actually looked back into Game Freak's development history though, and they haven't worked on a whole lot besides Pokemon since 1995 or 1996, whenever they started development on Pokemon. They've worked on a few things here and there, but this is gonna be like their first big RPG that they put out by themselves. I think they're even might be publishing it if Nintendo isn't. This was right up my alley. This was one of the highlights of the presentation for me. It's like a medieval RPG. I'm not sure how the combat works. I'm really not sure how the game is going to work at all, but I loved the art style and I loved the whole concept, the world that they presented us with. It looks great. I got some really big Octopath vibes. If you watch my channel, you might know that Octopath Traveler was one of my most anticipated games since 2017, and it's now one of my favorite games of 2018. I got a lot of those vibes from this new game, Town, and they were kind of the vibes that I was expecting from Square Enix, but Square Enix did not deliver on whatsoever. I kind of think that Game Freak really picked up the slack where Square Enix kind of dropped the ball a little bit, but I'll get into that just a little bit later. After Town, we got the announcement that Cities Skyline, a remastered edition with all of the DLC, would be releasing on Switch the day of the Direct, which was pretty cool, but if I'm being honest, and actually I think that a whole lot of other people that I've seen share my same opinion, this game really didn't look like that great of a port, just the graphics in general. All of the textures looked like 480 pixels, something like that. Just didn't look very good at all, but A lot of people love games like that. A lot of fans of games like The Sims will be happy for a simulator game like that to be on Switch, so that's cool. Then they talked a little bit about Daemon X Machina. This was announced at a Direct back in March, I believe, or maybe it was E3. I think it was E3. I've never been super interested in this game, but they're obviously doing a lot to push it to Switch owners. It's been at 2 Directs now, so obviously it's going to be a good game if Nintendo's getting behind it, but I'm not sure if I will play it. It's coming out sometime in 2019. Looks cool. If that's your thing, get excited for that. After that, we finally got the official title for the new Yoshi game coming out in 2019. It's been delayed, which is still a little disappointing, but we finally got a title. It's called Yoshi's Crafted World. I kind of like it. I would have preferred something with the word flipping in it. I saw a lot of ideas with that being flown around, but you know how that goes when you have expectations and it doesn't quite meet them. Anyways, it looks like a fun game. I'm not sure how much I'll enjoy it, but of course I'm going to buy it anyways. I got to get all those big Nintendo IPs. It'll probably have the same effect as Kirby did on me. It'll be an overly easy platformer that I finish in like a weekend and never really touch again. But I'm excited for it either way. Yoshi has always been one of my favorite Nintendo characters, so that's exciting. After that, they showed us some Asmodee Digital tabletop games, which was not very expected, and I wasn't too excited at first, but it does look like they are bringing some cool games. They had a kind of Magic the Gathering style Lord of the Rings game that I hadn't heard of before that they're bringing over. I just prefer Hearthstone, the Blizzard World of Warcraft trading card game, but I'm sure we'll get that eventually, as well as some other games. They mentioned Catan is coming eventually, which I've heard the name before. I know that's kind of like a epic, legendary old game from the 70s or 80s. Then they have Munchkin as well, which is a fairly recently released RPG card game. I've played it with friends before. I can't remember exactly how it works, but it's pretty complicated. They have like an armor system, and it's like D&D, like a mini version of D&D that you can finish in like 2 or 3 hours. So that looks kind of fun. Wasn't as excited I was more excited than I thought I would be about that. Following all that tabletop game stuff, we got the official announcement, or I guess the second official announcement for Civilization 6 on Nintendo Switch. Super exciting, but once again, it wasn't as exciting because they spilled the beans about a week ago. Once again, though, what are you going to do about tsunamis and natural disasters? But just had to say that it would have been a lot more exciting if they had found a way to somehow kept it under wraps until then. After that, we got some new Starlink information. They just kind of showed off some gameplay and then showed a trailer with Wolf in it. He was like munching on some alien drumsticks. I don't know what he was doing. I guess that was exciting. I'm probably still not going to buy Starlink because those Toys to Life games can really drain your wallet very quickly, so I'm not even going to mess with it. But I thought it was kind of, that Wolf trailer was really cool. I was just thinking the whole time, like, Nintendo's just putting this in their Direct to tell you, yeah, you're not getting a Star Fox game for any time soon, so here, just have Wolf for the time being. After Atlas, they gave us a whole slew of reminders of games that we already knew were coming. The World Ends With You Final Remix. Don't worry, guys, that's still coming. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the DLC, the Torna Golden Country, that's coming next week. Don't worry, guys, it's still coming if you were worried about that. Then they gave us a whole bunch of reminders for AAA games, which I was like, why? All of the NBA, 2K, FIFA, Lego. I didn't want any of that in my Direct. All I wanted was the first-party IP stuff, but I suppose they had to appease the AAA gods, so there was that. Then came the most controversial section of this Direct, maybe, which was the Square Enix section. So about a couple months ago, following the success of Octopath Traveler, Square Enix announced that they were going to be putting all of their teams onto the Switch. They're going to be whipping out games for the Switch left and right, and I was super excited about this because I love JRPGs, I love RPGs, I loved Octopath Traveler, and I've always loved Square Enix games. I was so excited, but what I should have known that they meant, and I'm now disappointed that I didn't know they meant, is that they're not working on brand new IPs for the Switch. Maybe they are, but mostly it's just going to be ports. At this Direct, they announced about 10 different ports of their greatest hits from the last 20 or 30 years. We, of course, knew about Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. That was kind of they spilled the beans on that like they did with Pokemon last week. But we didn't know about Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X and X2, Final Fantasy 8 and 9, all of the Chocobo Adventures, so many Final Fantasy games, but they're all ports. Which is why I say they kind of dropped the ball here and Game Freak kind of picked it up. Game Freak is going to have that new IP, Switch exclusive, just like Octopath Traveler was. Square Enix might have one in the future, but it just kind of disappointed me that when they said they were going to start supporting the Switch so much, they just meant they were going to do like the easiest thing they could possibly do and just kind of put teams on porting stuff over. It's just such a money grab move instead of making brand new quality IPs for the Switch. That's just my qualm, but either way, of course I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII on my Switch. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm not going to do that. So that was the Square Enix section. And now we're at the end of the Direct. The last headline we got was this new Super Smash Bros. Bundle that we knew nothing about. I don't know how many bundles there's going to be. It feels like I've learned about like 3 or 4 different Super Smash Bros. Ultimate bundles in the last month. But anyways, this new one has a specially themed dock. It has the original 12 characters from the original Super Smash Bros. 64 game. And of course the Joy-Cons, which is the gray Joy-Cons with a line down the middle. I laughed pretty hard when that first got announced because I could literally just take a silver Sharpie and draw the Super Smash Bros. Logo on my Joy-Cons and I'd have the same thing. I'm definitely not getting that bundle, but I guess it's kind of cool. I'm sure some people think that's cool. And then of course, after the bundle announcement, all the headlines are done and we get that big troll. I'm not going to talk too much about this. You can go watch my live reaction because of course I freaked out. It was perfect the way they announced it. Isabelle is going to be a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We originally thought it might be a new Animal Crossing game because it looked like it could be an Animal Crossing game, but they said not actual in-game footage, and I was like, what? Oh, what's going on? It's like the same thing they did with the King K. Rool thing. They trolled us so hard. Perfect announcement, and then of course the Animal Crossing announcement played into the whole Smash Bros. Thing. No better way they could have announced that stuff. Just that last 2 minutes right there made it all worth it for me. Add on the Luigi's Mansion 3s, the towns, all of the Square Enix stuff. It was a great Direct, man. If you couldn't tell, this was definitely one of my favorite Directs of all time that I've ever seen. The only thing that has topped it in my mind since I've started this channel is E3 2017 when we got Metroid Prime 4 and all of those big new announcements. But other than that, this is really one of my favorite Directs of all time. Let me know your thoughts about this Direct though down in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to my channel for the latest Switch content available. This has been Max from Max Culture. Thank you so much for watching.